back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, I'm Alexa, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than some of the stuff that I've been filming previously. If you have clicked on this video, you are either becoming an EMT, looking to become an EMT, prepping for the national exam. So just to give some backstory so that it doesn't seem like I'm just rambling on about all this stuff and what this stuff means, I took the NREMT about a year and a half ago, and I had been in EMS for about a year. And it's actually been about 1 month since I am not in EMS anymore. But the national exam is essentially the same. What it covers is the same, and I'm just going to be going through all the things that honestly, if I hadn't done and learned and stuck to, I wouldn't have passed the very first time. If you have been prepping for the national exam, then you're probably overloaded with information, so I'm going to just keep it simple and straightforward and essential. So first of all, if you are looking to take the national exam, then you know that the national exam is what you need in order to become a certified EMT. So in order to take the NREMT exam, you have to have taken a prep course prior to this. So you are either prepping during your prep course, or you are done with your course, you are certified, and now you have to pass the national exam. So some background as well on the programs, where you can go and do these programs, how to find them, etc. So there is a huge plethora of different length times of courses. It all depends on what works best for you. So for example, for me, a 6-month course was best for me because at the time I was also in undergrad and I was working full-time as well. So I needed that 6-month distance so that I could kind of spread out my courses. So for a 6-month course, I went into class for certification twice a week, 4 hours each day. So if you're going to take this in a 6-week condensed course, your schedule is going to look entirely different. You're going to be packed with more information in a much shorter period of time, obviously. So this all depends on your personal preference and how you learn and your learning style and what is best for you. So my best piece of advice would be, I know a 6-week prep course might look very appealing because it's like, okay, 6 weeks, I could just get it done and not have to worry about it. Honestly, if you're going to do that, make sure that you are familiar with the content ahead of time. So at the time, I was taking classes that applied to the national exam because I'm a pre-med student. So it was applying to what was going to be on the national exam, so I didn't feel as overloaded, and I was in a 6-month course. So my advice is, if you have no background, absolutely no background in anything like this, then you probably need to stretch out how long of a program you are going to do, just because 6 weeks might be too much. But then again, if your learning style is, pile it on and you learn real quick, then by all means do it. It's a great way to just get it done and over with and then move on to your national exam. But this is a totally personal decision and you have to just decide what works best for you. So these courses are offered tons of places. I took mine at a community college. It seems like most courses are done at a community college. You can find them online. There's different ways of going about finding a course, and you just have to do your research and you will find one in your area. There's a lot of them. So you have to have a certification from the course that you took. So after those 6 months, 6 weeks, whatever it may be that you took this course, they are going to give you a certification if you passed. Now every course is different on their qualifications and what it takes to pass their class. So for example, for my certification program, you needed to have a B or better in the course in order to pass. I know that some places will take a C or better to pass the class and get certified. So this is going to depend on the EMT program that you go into and what their specific requirements are. So with that said, there's going to be little checkpoints within your program that's going to require you to sort of move on to the next step. So once you have gone through the course, you've done well, there is a psychomotor test at the very end of your course. So the best way I like to explain this is the national exam has 2 separate components. The first one is a cognitive exam, cognitive written exam, and the second is a psychomotor exam, which you can think of as a practical exam, a real life exam, a skills exam. So the psychomotor exam, which is the skills portion, is going to be taken in your EMT prep program. So once you've gone through the length of your EMT program, and if you have passed all those checkpoints, those exams, and you're doing well and you're still in the program, then you get to take that psychomotor exam at the very end, and you have to pass that exam in order to get your certification. So let's briefly go over what you will be tested on in the psychomotor portion. So one of the first things is going to be cardiac arrest management. They want to see how you handle giving a patient CPR as an individual and also with a partner next to you. Working in EMS, obviously you could expect that CPR is a skill you're most definitely going to need and use, so this is a portion of the practical exam that they really emphasize. So other things are going to include like bag valve mask, spinal immobilization, bleeding control, trauma control, traction splints. So things along that line are also going to be tested, but my biggest advice in terms of the psychomotor portion is really know your cardiac arrest stuff, because that is going to be super heavily tested on and you're going to be watched on how you handle CPR. Once you get your certification, then you have to apply to take the national exam. So now we're getting into like the meat of what this video is, but I just wanted to give you guys some background so that you can kind of see like the steps that get you to this final point. The national exam is about 2 hours long, but that is completely dependent on the person taking it. They just give you 2 hours to take it, but you don't need to absolutely take that whole time to do it. So there are 70 to 120 questions in the exam, and it's basically like an algorithm. That's the best way I can explain it. So the more questions you get right, it starts to taper down on knowing if you're going to pass the exam or not. So as you are closer to approaching that 120, you might be feeling like, okay, like it keeps giving me questions, so I must not be doing that well. But just remember that's not always the case, because for example, for me, when I was taking the exam, I was approaching that 100 question mark and I was thinking, I must not be doing that well if it keeps giving me questions, because the way it works is if you're doing really well, the questions are gonna cut off at an earlier point. So it'll cut off earlier because it knows, okay, you know your stuff, you know your content, you know your material well, so we don't need to keep asking questions, if that makes any sense. But don't worry, a lot of people go past that mark. They go up to 120 and they still passed. I've heard that from colleagues that also took the national the first time and passed, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. What you need to worry about for taking this exam is actually knowing your content. And then also to pass the exam, you need a 70% or higher. So out of the 70 to 120 questions, you need to get 70% correct, and that is a passing score. So now let's get into the bulk of what this video is about and what you need to know in order to pass this exam the first time, because trust me, you don't want to take it twice. Number one, and I'm gonna just jump headfirst into this tip because this is honestly what got me to pass this exam, is FISDAP. Now, if you've never heard of FISDAP, it is a testing system that a lot of programs will use in order to get their students ready for this national exam prior to even having to take it. So every course is different, but I will just tell you guys how it worked for me. So for my course, our instructors required us to take a FISDAP exam on every single portion of the course that we were taking. And if we didn't pass a certain amount of these FISDAP exams, you're not allowed to take the psychomotor exam at the end of the course, or they ask you to drop the course, or you can stay in the course but you won't pass, if that makes any sense. So what FISDAP is it's basically a mini national exam on the specific portion that you guys are currently studying and going over in lecture. So for example, one of the biggest sections is cardiology and resuscitation. So they will give you a FISDAP exam on cardiology and resuscitation, and it is basically like a mini national, but it's only on that topic. If you are going to take the national within the next month, I would say take a practice exam every week, at least one. So if you want to go with FISDAP, which I would personally recommend the most just because I feel like they are the most intense and get you prepped the most for the course, then you're going to have to purchase these separately if it does not come with your course. So for example, in my course, FISDAP was a part of the tuition that we paid for the program. But if not, then you can go online, you can buy these FISDAP materials. So for example, if you are going to get the whole package for EMT prep, where they give you a scheduler, the exams, unit exams, study tools, and training, it's going to be about $150. But you could do just the exams for $100. So it depends on what you want to do. And if you are someone who wants to be an advanced EMT or a paramedic, they also do FSDAP for them as well. This is just for EMT-B, so EMT basic. So basically what I'm trying to say is if I did not take these FSDAP exams, I would definitely not have passed the NREMT the first time, just because the FSDAP exams get you so used to the format of the questions, how it's going to run, the timing, all that stuff. So FSDAP is essentially exactly like the national exam, but just focused. Each one is focused on a different topics, whereas the national exam is focused on all the topics. So let's kind of briefly go over what is on the cognitive portion of the national exam. So you're going to have airway and resuscitation, obviously the CPR portion, which is cardio and resuscitation, respiration, ventilation, trauma, OBGYN, and EMS operations. So what I can say from personal experience is that the portion that I remember there being the least of on it is OBGYN. Based on the type of work that you're going to be doing, if you do go into EMS, those are the most important skills, in my opinion, that you're going to need going into this field. So while OBGYN is important, I can say that, you know, I could count the amount of times on my hand that I had OBGYN calls, and I know I only have a year experience, but in that year experience, I could count on my hand the amount of times I had an OBGYN call. So they try to kind of tailor the exam to things that they feel you're going to be probably dealing with the most, and that is more likely. So you're going to be dealing with a lot of airway problems, a lot of cardio problems. That's a lot of the stuff that's going to be on there, as well as neuro. So these are the portions that I would focus on the most. So with that said, if you can't afford FSDAP, if you don't want to spend extra money, there are tons and tons and tons of free practice tests online. Take them. That is my biggest advice. If you can take these practice tests and do well on them, you will pass the first time. If you do not do practice exams at least, this I can't emphasize enough, it is going to be 10, 20 times harder to pass the first time. Just because, especially if you're like me and you get a little bit of test anxiety, taking those practice exams really gets rid of some of that anxiety and helps you feel like, okay, I know what's kind of going to be on this exam. So that is my biggest piece of advice, is practice taking this exam. My second piece of advice is to go through the AHA guidelines, which is the American Heart Association's guidelines, because they will always be the one updating their guidelines, and once they update guidelines, that will apply to your course, that will apply to all of your prep materials. So I would go through their guidelines just because their material will absolutely be on the national exam. I remember this very, very clearly. The AHA guidelines are all over the national exam, at least for me they were, and so I would go through these as well. Even though you will be touching on it in a lot of your prep material, go through the specific guidelines as well and make sure you know those, because when you get in the field as well, you are going to be applying these tasks in a hands-on way, so it's important to actually understand them. So my third piece of advice is to understand. Do not cram this information. So understand what you are actually reading and digest the material. So for example, if you have a day where you need to go through ventilation procedures, but you also really need to review cardio, honestly, pick one to study and pick one to fully understand. Unless you feel like you can absolutely understand both in one day, by all means then do it, but for the most part, I would probably recommend prioritizing one thing over the other and having really, really good study habits. That also ties into another tip, is study habits. Make sure that you actually know how to study, know how to take notes, and know how to memorize the information. So one of the biggest differences between the national exam and maybe a typical exam that you'd have in college or high school or something is all of the skills that you're learning for the national exam are real life practical examples. So you're going to be getting a ton of hypothetical questions. So the national exam is mostly hypothetical questions where they are going to give you chief complaints, they're going to give you patient case scenarios, and they're going to ask very practical questions on how you would handle the situation, how you would move forward, what's the next step, what's the thing you should be worried about, etc. So if you can master these kinds of questions, then you will most definitely pass this exam the first time. But that's not going to happen unless you know how to study. So when you take your notes, do not just memorize your notes. You have to actually understand what you're writing and why certain things make sense. Best way to do this for me was YouTube videos and taking notes physically. So physically writing notes helps me, and watching YouTube videos on a lot of different procedures, because I am a very visual person. So if you're not a very visual person, there's other ways that you can go about this. However is the best way for you to learn, but you need to know what your learning style is and what helps you the most, because if you're going into this exam thinking you can just memorize everything or just come up with acronyms in your head for how to memorize things, that's most definitely not going to work, because the questions are going to be hypothetical case scenarios where you actually have to do a little bit of critical thinking in order to apply it to a real life situation. Understand the material where you can explain it to someone else. Make sure you actually know what you're talking about, because all in all, you're going to have to actually apply these skills in real life if you continue and move on and pass the national exam and become an EMT and start working in the field. You actually are going to be applying these skills in real life situations, in real life urgent situations as well. So that's why you want to actually know that you know your stuff, because in a real life situation where you're moving very quickly, you have a partner, you have firefighters around you, you are not going to remember what you read in a textbook. You are only going to remember what's deeply ingrained in your mind that you genuinely understand, because you're not going to be able to retrieve information in times where you need to gather the information really quickly out of your brain so that you can apply it to a real life situation. The psychomotor exam does help you prep for the national exam because it gives you that real life feeling experience, and it is easier to answer the questions. But with that said, you've got to know your stuff, you got to take notes, you got to read, and you got to understand why you understand the stuff that you do. So basically this exam is very simple. It's very straightforward. They're not trying to trick you. They're trying to really just give you questions, things that would happen in the field in EMS and how you would handle them, because they want to see if you are going to be able to basically do your job well. So if you have any questions on this, anything I said, or any questions you might have for me, feel free to comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed watching this, if you thought it was interesting, if you didn't think it was interesting. Just let me know, and other stuff that you'd like to see me film as well. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys liked this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.